souls near and far, family and friends and strangers, show us who we are. Therefore let us make thanksgiving, and with justice willing and aware, give to earth and all things living liturgies of care. Let us be a house of welcome, living stone upholding living stone, gladly showing all our neighbors we are not our own. Welcome to this online service of Neshoba Unitarian Universalist Church. Our minister, Reverend Beth Lefevre, is on vacation this week. My name is Chrysti Hogan. I'm president of the congregation, and I'm pleased to be today's pulpit guest. I'm very glad that you are joining us this morning. Our opening words are by Joan Javier-Duval and will be offered by me and my wife, Jeanne.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether tears have fallen from your eyes this past week or gleeful laughter has spilled out of your smiling mouth.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have untold stories buried deep inside or stories that have been forced beyond the edges of comfort.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have made promises, broken promises, or are renewing your promises.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whatever is on your heart, however it is with your soul in this moment.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
In this space of welcome and acceptance, commitment and recommitment, of covenant and connection, let us worship together. Jeanne will now light the chalice as I read the chalice words. We light a chalice each week as we join together in worship. This week, let the flame of our chalice bring peace to ourselves, peace to our church, peace to our community, and peace to our world. If you will now join me in the words of the affirmation of covenant, they are printed on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Hi, this is Rachel Farmer, and I'm going to read a book for Story for All Ages. The book we're reading today is called I Love You, Stinky Face. It is written by Lisa McCourt and illustrated by Sid Moore. I love you, my wonderful child, said Mama as she tucked me in. But I had a question. Mama, what if I were a big, scary ape? Would you still love me then? If you were a big, scary ape, I would comb your whole hairy self to make sure you didn't have any tangles. And I would make your birthday cake out of bananas, and I would tell you, I love you, big, scary ape. But Mama, what if I were a super smelly skunk and I smelled so bad that my name was Stinky Face? Then I would give you a bath and sprinkle you with sweet-smelling powder. And if you still smelled bad, I wouldn't mind, and I would hug you tight and whisper in your ear, "I love you, Stinky Face." But Mama, what if I were an alligator with big, sharp teeth that could bite your head off? Then I would buy you a bigger toothbrush for your big teeth and make sure that you brushed them every night so they would stay healthy and strong. And if you had a sore throat, I would stick my head right inside your enormous jaws to make sure you were okay. And I would say, "I love you, my ferocious alligator." But Mama, what if I were a terrible meat-eating dinosaur with razor-sharp claws that ripped my sheets to shreds every night when I slept? Then I would give you plenty of meat to eat, if that is what you liked, and I would sew your sheets back together every day because, after all, ripping them would be an accident. And I would tuck you into your newly mended sheets every night and say, "I love you, my sweet, terrible dinosaur." But Mama, what if I were a swamp creature with slimy, smelly seaweed hanging from my body, and I couldn't ever leave the swamp or I would die? Then I would build a house right next to the swamp, and I would stay with you and take care of you always. And when you splashed to the surface, I would say, "I love you, my slimy little swamp monster." But Mama, what if I were a green alien from Mars and I ate bugs instead of peanut butter? Then I would dress you in colors that showed off your nice green skin. And I would pack your lunchbox with beetles and spiders and ants and grasshoppers and the tastiest bugs you ever had. And I would pack a note with all the bugs that said, "I love you, little greenie. Bon appetit." But Mama, what if I were a cyclops and I had just one big, gigantic eye in the middle of my head? Then I would look right into your gigantic eye and say, "I love you, my little cyclops." And I would sing you a lullaby until your one gigantic eyelid got droopier and droopier, and it finally closed and you fell fast asleep. I love you, Mama, and I love you, my wonderful child. The end.
Our church community is strong, even while we are apart. Our church community depends on one another, even when we are not with one another. Our church community depends on our generosity, even when we can't pass the collection basket. There are many ways that you can support Neshoba with financial donations. You are always welcome to mail a check, visit our website and click on the donate button, or use one of the methods shown on the screen. Please remember that we are aware that not everyone is in a position to donate, but we are so very grateful for any and all contributions. My reading this morning is a poem entitled A House Called Tomorrow by Alberta Rios. You are not 15 or 12 or 17. You are 100 wild centuries and 15, bringing with you in every breath and in every step everyone who has come before you and all the yous that you have been, the mothers of your mother, the fathers of your father. If someone in your family tree was troubled, 100 were not. The bad do not win, not finally, no matter how loud they are. We simply would not be here if that were so. You are made fundamentally from the good. With this knowledge, you never march alone. You are the breaking news of the century. You are the good who has come forward through it all, even if so many days feel otherwise. But think, when you as a child learned to speak, it's not that you didn't know words, it's that from the centuries you knew so many, and it's hard to choose the words that will be your own. From those centuries, we human beings bring with us the simple solutions and songs, the river bridges and star charts and song harmonies, all in service to a simple idea, that we can make a house called tomorrow. What we bring finally into the new day, every day, is ourselves, and that's all we need to start. That's everything we require to keep going. Look back only for as long as you must, then go forward into the history you will make. Be good, then better. Write books, cure disease, make us proud, make yourself proud. And those who came before you, when you hear thunder, hear it as their applause. A friend of mine told me a story recently of when she was a young girl, struggling with the idea of God. She asked her father where God was, expecting to hear, in the sky, in the clouds, or all around us. What he responded, however, stayed with her all these years. When I heard it, it spoke to me as well. Mr. McQuiston's answer was, God is in the space between us. Although I don't believe in God, as most people understand that concept, I am a believer in the holy. So I interpret his words to be, the holy is in the space between us. The holy is the connection between us. This concept is not Mr. McQuiston's alone. From the 1995 movie Before Sunrise, the character Celine says, I believe if there's any kind of God, it wouldn't be in any of us, not you or me, but just this little space between. If there's any kind of magic in this world, it must be in the attempt of understanding someone, sharing something. I know it's almost impossible to succeed, but who cares really? The answer must be in the attempt. The answer must be in the attempt. It is holy to try to understand someone. It is holy to attempt connection. Being connected to one another is also the basis of the South African principle of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is interpreted in a variety of ways, but in his book, No Future Without Forgiveness, Archbishop Desmond Tutu expressed it well. These are his words. Ubuntu is the essence of being human. It speaks of the fact that my humanity is caught up and is inextricably bound up in yours. I am human because I belong. It speaks about wholeness. It speaks about compassion. A person with Ubuntu is welcoming, hospitable, warm and generous, willing to share. Such people are open and available to others, willing to be vulnerable, affirming of others, do not feel threatened that others are able and good, for they have a proper self-assurance that comes from knowing that they belong in a greater whole. They know that they are diminished when others are humiliated, diminished when others are oppressed, diminished when others are treated as if they are less than who they are. The quality of Ubuntu gives people resilience, enabling them to survive and emerge still human, despite all efforts to dehumanize them. End quote. Former ambassador and U.S. diplomat Elizabeth Frawley Bagley explains Ubuntu as a person is a person through other persons. In essence, I am because you are. Ubuntu, I am because you are. I am because we are. We are connected in all ways. Our humanity, our being, our lives. We must rely on and care for each other because without each other, we cease to exist. Ubuntu embraces both the right and the responsibility of each person to contribute to society as a whole. This philosophy has even been embraced by some teams in the sporting world. Ubuntu was the rallying cry of the 2008 Boston Celtics and helped lead them to an NBA championship. I am because we are. As of last month, the Washington NFL football team, currently nameless, has also adopted Ubuntu. The individual is successful when the team is successful. The team is successful when the individual is successful. I am because we are. Both of these teams support the principle of Ubuntu, that the success of the individual is the responsibility of the group, and the success of the group is the responsibility of the individual. Seems like good advice for us all in the age of COVID. According to the late South African freedom leader Nelson Mandela, Ubuntu is not a single thing, but a broad concept involving characteristics such as unselfishness and caring that enable the community around you. I believe Ubuntu can resonate within the UU tradition as well. Our first principle is that we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all. According to Wikipedia, Ubuntu theology is based on inherent value for individuals and their relationships within communities. If I am to have value, others must have value, since I am because we are. Our seventh principle directs us to acknowledge and respect the interconnected web of all existence, of which we are a part. In the words of Barack Obama at Mandela's funeral, Ubuntu embraces the idea that we are all bound together in ways that are invisible to the eye, that there is a oneness to humanity, that we achieve ourselves by sharing ourselves with others and caring for those around us. At Neshoba, we practice Ubuntu all the time. Every time we help with Riddy, we are practicing Ubuntu. Every time we show up to celebrate Pride, we are practicing Ubuntu. Every time we march in protest for social justice, attend MICA events, and make calls or write letters asking politicians to support policies that help the underprivileged, we are practicing Ubuntu. Every time we acknowledge the oppression of others and fight to overcome it, we are practicing Ubuntu. When we live our affirmation of love is our doctrine and service is our prayer, we are practicing Ubuntu. We are seeing our fellow human beings as extensions of ourselves, and we are strengthening our connections to them. The poem I read earlier is about being connected to our ancestors as well. I believe we are because they were. From the poem, that had the lines, "You are the good who has come forward through it all, even if so many days feel otherwise." I believe we must spend our days searching for our connections, our own Ubuntu. Again from the poem, what we bring finally into the new day, every day, is ourselves, and that's all we need to start. That's everything we require to keep going. Our connections to the past are vital to knowing who we are and that we matter. When you hear thunder, hear it as their applause. Our connection to those who come next are just as vital. Let us be their thunder. They will be because we are, and we are because they will be. The connection continues. This past month, many of us spent time considering what we were thankful for. Last Sunday, Reverend Beth encouraged us to find gratitude, even when it seems that we don't have much to be thankful for. I know that I am grateful for the connections I have, especially the connections I have formed at Neshoba. I am grateful for a faith community that values the inherent worth and dignity of all, the inherent worth and dignity of me. As we transition into the busy holiday month of December, we may be thinking of what we want for ourselves or what we want to give to others. Ubuntu asks us not to feel that we have to give to another, just to celebrate being with one another. In our current reality, that is not necessarily physically with each other, but we can be with each other. We can be present with one another in other ways. We can be open to listening, willing to share ourselves with others, ready to hold one another in care and love, ready to be connected, whether physically or not. I am because we are. That doesn't say that we have to be together, just that we are here. We are human, we are connected. So many people spend time looking for the meaning of life, but I think the idea of Ubuntu gives it to us. I am here, I am human, I am, because of the connections I have with others, both past and present. I am, because we are. Amen. Let us move into a spirit of reflection, meditation, and prayer with these words that are an excerpt by Reverend Ashley Horan. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious. Your work and your life matter, and you are not alone. You are a part of a we, a great cloud of witnesses, living and dead, who have insisted that this beautiful, broken world of ours is a blessing worthy of both deep gratitude and fierce protection. Our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward toward greater connection, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to the earth. Together we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up again and again, to be part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. Let us consider these words in a moment of silence. Amen. And until next week, when Reverend Beth is back, blessed, blessed be.